In today's video, I will be showing you the step-by-step method of adding a back yoke to your vintage shirt. Make sure you stick to this video to the end because I will be showing you a secret which no one has shown you before now. Trust me, I'm sure you don't want to miss this. Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time of watching my video, this is Reggie School of Fashion. Make sure you subscribe to my channel because on this platform, I upload fashion designing content regularly for both male and female, using pattern drafting, which is a world standard method in clothing construction. My name is Bolaji, and I will be back to take you on this ride in a jiffy. Now it's time to draft pattern for the vintage shirt yoke. In drafting pattern for the vintage shirt yoke, the back panel is needed. Okay, as you can see, I have the back pattern here with me. This is the pattern for the vintage shirt, and this is the fabric itself, which I cut out. But I intentionally cut this out so that it won't look complicating to you guys. Okay. A vintage shirt yoke is totally different from a native shirt yoke. Okay, so there is trick and tips that goes into attaching a vintage shirt yoke. Okay, so which I will be showing you in the course of this tutorial. Now I will be taking measurement for the length of the shirt yoke. The standard measurement is 4 inches. Shirt yoke is different from native shirt yoke. I mean corporate shirt yoke. Corporate shirt yoke is different from that of native shirt yoke, so it will not be as long as the native shirt yoke. The standard measurement is 4 inches. So this measurement usually falls on the 4 inches extra we usually add to the back panel. If you have been following me closely from the first part of this video, you will notice that the back panel is longer than the front panel with 4 inches. And this is the exact point where the yoke falls. Okay, so 4 inches from here, 4 inches from here. So, and I connected the line like so, and I have it like a straight line. So this 4 inches is the extra 4 inches that was added to the back panel, which make it longer than the front panel. Okay, so you can either cut out your pattern like so, your yoke. You can cut it out like so if you want it to go on a straight line. But if you don't want it to go on a straight line like mine, I don't want it to be on a complete straight line. So that is why I will be adding a curvy effect. Okay, so I'll be taking this up by 1.5 between 1 and 2 inches. Okay. So you can subtract between 1 and 2 inches from the length of the yoke. So from the length of the yoke, I'll be subtracting 1.5 inches. And here is the point. Then I will be adding extra half of an inch. I will be adding extra half of an inch on the center front. Then this part, I will square it out a little with a straight line. So here is a line. You can ignore this line for now. So we are no more working with this because we don't want to cut our yoke on a straight line. Then I'll be making use of my pant curve to complete the drafting. So you can see it is not that much curvy, just a slight curve. Okay, so this is the pattern for my yoke. So this is what I will be cutting out. I will be cutting this out completely, unlike that of native yoke where you will have to have the yoke together with the bodies. So this is one of the secrets that I'm showing you. I'm cutting out the yoke. I'm separating the yoke from the bodies. You can see what I have. If I'm doing this on my own, if not for the sake of the tutorial, I will not cut this out yet. So this is what I'll be using to cut out my pattern. I will just place, this is what I'll be using to cut out my fabric. I will just place this on my fabric, then I will add extra 1/2 inch on this line. So this is what I'll be using as a seam allowance to attach the yoke to the remaining part of the bodies. But I cut this out so that you guys can understand perfectly. So now I've pinned the pattern together with the fabric. Okay, so this is the back panel. I cut this out completely. Okay, but now I've separated the upper part of the pattern from the lower part, as this is going to serve as the yoke. Okay, so now before cutting this out, I will need to add extra 1/2 inch, in which I will be using to join the yoke together with the bodies. So now I'm adding the 1/2 inch, following the shape I have around there. So these are the differences we have between native shirt yoke and vintage shirt yoke. Just make sure you follow me closely. So after adding the seam allowance, this is what I have. So now I'll be cutting this off completely. And don't forget, as I said earlier, I have my seam allowances on the armhole by the side. Okay, so if you have not watched the previous video, the video has been linked up in the description box, where I cut out the front panel of the vintage shirts, the back panel, the facing, and the collar. So this is how the lower part looks like. Can you see what I have? So I will keep this aside. So this is the part I cut out from the pattern, and I pin it on my fabric. My fabric is on fold, and this side is the center of the pattern. You can see I have this side on fold. This is the neckline, this is the shoulder line, this is the side of the pattern, this is part of the armhole, and this is the lower part of the pattern. So this is going to serve as a yoke. I will be cutting out 2 of this. After cutting this one, I will use this one as a template to cut another one. One out of the pieces will complete the back panel, while the second piece will be the main yoke. Now I will be adding 1/2 inch of seam allowance at the lower part. I will be adding 1/2 inch around the neckline, 1/2 inch on the shoulder line, and 1 inch by the side, just the exact way I added it on the fabric. Now I've added all my seam allowances on the neckline, the shoulder line, the side, and the lower part, and I'll be cutting out the fabric. Okay, so this is what I have after cutting out, and I will use this as template to cut the second piece. Now I've cut out the yoke, as you can see, and after joining I will have its back like so. So the back panel is going to be a complete panel like so, and I will have the yoke on the right side as well. But there's a secret that goes into attaching this together, because we have already separated the upper part from the lower part, and I have this in 2 pieces. How do I attach this together in such a way the seam will not show on the right side of the shirt? So these are the secrets I will be showing you as we proceed in this tutorial. So after cutting out, make sure you notch the center of the neckline. So that's what I'm doing right now. Then on the bodies as well, I'm notching the center. Then at the lower part of the yoke, now it's time to join the 3 pieces together. Okay, so this is the back panel and these are the 2 pieces for the yoke. So the first thing I'll be doing is to place one of the yoke, the right side facing up, like so. You can see the direction of the neckline. This is the neckline and here is the shoulder line. This is the lower part. Then I will take the back panel, place the wrong side of the back panel to align with these edges. And because I have a notch on the center, I will place the center to align with each other. Okay, then I will take the 3rd piece. So this is going to be like so, the right side of this facing the right side of the back panel. You can see the 3 notches aligned properly. Then I will be securing this together with my sewing pin. Okay, then I'll continue pinning the 3 pieces together on the edges, making sure they all align. Now I've pinned the 3 pieces together, as you can see, and this is the other side of the shirt. Okay, so the next step is to take this to my sewing machine and run a stitch from edge to edge using 1/2 inch of seam allowance I added at the lower part. So I'll be stitching with 1/2 inch seam allowance and I'll be back to show you the results. So this is what I have after stitching. Okay, so I will open this up like so, and this is coming up. So the next step is to go to my ironing board and iron down the seam allowance. So I'll give it a press. Then this will cover this hole. So you can see what we have. We are having the right side of the fabric on the right side of the shirt, and also in the inside we are still having the right side. So this is the uniqueness of this type of yoke. So now I'll be ironing this and I'll be back to show you the results. Now this is what I have after pressing the seam allowance. Okay, can you see what I have? So this is how the right side of the shirt looks like, and this is how the wrong side looks like. You can see what I am having as the yoke inside. You can see the seam. There's no traces of seam on the wrong side, no traces of seam on the right side. Okay, then I'll be showing another secret That is the secret of joining the shoulders together. Now I want to join the front and the back panels together in such a way the seam allowance will be inside. It's going to be in between the front and the back panel. Okay, and also I will not tamper with the neck area. I will not tamper with the neck area. So it is a secret that I'll be showing you right now. So what I will be doing is I will place one of the front panel. So there's a side that will match each other. So this will go for this side, like so. Then the second panel, like so. So this is the shoulder line and shoulder line, shoulder line and shoulder line. Okay. So here is the back panel. You can see I have two pieces for the back panel for the yoke. Okay, the one that is underneath, I will push it inward, like so. So now I'm having only one piece. So I will be aligning the front panel with this one piece, and I will pin the two together. And I'll be repeating the same process on the other side. Shoulder line to shoulder line. When you are aligning the shoulder line, make sure you start from the neckline area. Okay, so this side is very important. Okay, so this is what I have after pinning the shoulder lines together. You can see now I have the front panel on the back panel. So just pay a closer attention at this point. Okay. What I'll be doing now is to roll the front panel up. I'm rolling this in a sequential order. Then it will stop on the shoulder line. Then the other side as well, I will be rolling this in a sequential order. Then I will stop it on the shoulder line. Okay, then the back panel, the same process. I'm repeating the same process. You can see what I did. I folded it over once, then I picked at the edge and I will start rolling. So you can see the yoke I pushed inward. Here is it. I have it over here now. So what I will be doing is just release this a little. Then I will pick this to cover up these rows, the yoke. It will cover this up. Then I will align it to match up with the two I pinned together. Then I'll be removing the pin and pin the three pieces together on the shoulder line. This is the third one that I pushed inward. These are the two I pinned together earlier. Now I'm taking the third one to overlap on this. Then I'll be pinning the three together. Okay, then on the other side, I will be repeating the same process. Flip the other yoke to overlap the rows. Then align with the two shoulder lines. Then pin the three pieces together. after pinning, then I will have something like this. This is the lower part and this is the upper part. Okay, so the next step is to run a stitch from edge to edge on the shoulder line, and I'll be stitching with 1/2 inch seam allowance I added on this side and also on the other side. So this is the other side of the shoulder. This is what I have after joining the shoulder lines together. As you can see, now I will be opening this up for you guys to see the final results. Wow, can you see what I have? So this is what I have on the shoulder line. So this is the right side of the shirt and this is the wrong side of the shirt. Okay, so the last step is to give this a good press. I will top stitch on the shoulder lines and I will top stitch on the back yoke. So now I've given this a press and I'll be top stitching on the shoulder line and on the yoke. And finally, I'm top stitching on the yoke. Thank you guys for staying on this video to this point. I believe you will love to see the complete sewing of this vintage shirt. Go ahead and click the link below for full access to the video where I showed you how to attach the collar, how to construct the lapel, and also how to finish the center front with facing. Thank you once again, and I will see you in my next video. But then, always do remember, there is no elevator to success. You have to take the stairs.